Mermaids have long been the subject of legend and myth going back to early seafaring sailors who would claim to see these enchanted maidens in the middle of the ocean. The question is, could something like mermaids really exist? Well, we're going to explore that today in pretty good detail, and I think you're going to learn some very fun things. So put on the brakes, grab a cup of coffee, and join the conversation because it's time for Coffee Breaks with Steve. Well, welcome to Coffee Breaks with Steve. I'm Steve, and this is the show where we come together around our virtual coffee table each week and join the conversation to chat about interesting topics with amazing guests. If you've been with us before, welcome back to the show. If you're with us for the first time, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Please do put your comments in the chat. I see that Rick is already here. All right. Thank you. Hi, Rick. And as you do join, yes, do say hello and do put the comments in the chat. Listen, I'm not here alone today. I have a co-host with me, someone who's been on the show many times before and is a regular part of our family. Karissa's here with us, and look, there she is. Okay, I don't necessarily think that you're drinking coffee right now.
No, I have given up coffee mostly. It's a special weekend this weekend, so I do get a coffee tomorrow. But I've switched it out for iced tea.
Iced tea, and that's the thing. You know, we talk about this during
Diet
coffee
iced
breaks.
tea.
Giant iced tea.
Well, it is giant, but also
it is. That's a good sized can of iced tea. I'm still drinking coffee, as not surprisingly. I see some other people who joined in. Scott is here.
Hi, Scott.
Hey, happy day to
Scott
you,
said
Scott.
hi to me.
And Carla is here. Kathy is here.
Hi, Kathy.
And
hi,
Jerry
Carla.
is here.
Hi,
you know,
Jerry.
I love our brew crew. They come in here and they keep us on. Well, actually, sometimes they distract us from being on track.
I said hi to Rick in the chat, but hi, Rick. I'll say it out loud too.
And he said hello to you. There we go. I want to get to our conversation today, but I think it's worth mentioning that the conversation we're holding today, this is actually something I thought we were going to be sharing a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And you were actually here on that date.
Yep.
And that's how we promoted this. We promoted the fact that we were going to be sharing this Mermaid Sandy episode. And then unbeknownst to me, there were other plans that day, which were, if you weren't here on that day, you can go back and find the episode. But it's quite a setup.
It took months of planning. And to be fair, Sandy was in on the whole thing. When we originally recorded this,
Sandy
the Mermaid, our guest today, this was literally just recorded to throw you off. And then we got to the end of the recording, and we're like, this was a really great episode.
Listen, I mean, I was preparing it. I was editing and preparing it to show a month ago. And I was so fascinated and intrigued by it. There was nothing about it that was a phony conversation with Sandy that you carried. And it's a worthwhile episode. And so, first of all, I want to say thank you to you, Karissa, for not only a being part of a brilliant campaign to throw me off so that and what happened a month ago was my birthday is in early June, but all our family was in town the latter part of June, and Carol, along with all of my kids and a variety of other people, had a conspiracy going to fool me into thinking we were just going to have normal family get-togethers, and through a big belated surprise birthday party for me on that date.
You on air to take you away.
And you guys interrupted the show, you and Shalane, and kind of blindfolded me, put me in the car, took me to this location. I had no clue what was going on. I mean, I knew that there was something going on related to my birthday, and I thought it was just going to be family. And there were well over 20 people at this venue. We had a great time, and it was live streamed up until the moment that we arrive at the venue.
Well, and then I couldn't stop the live stream because my computer wasn't connecting to the internet, and so we had like dead air. I
There's a
don't know
little bit
how
of dead
long
air, and
before we
which I
got
have
it
not
sorted
yet
out.
gone back to. But it kind of, you can certainly switch it off there. What
It
it
was
should do
funny.
is go to like static. We should make
Yeah,
it go to
basically it was
static.
like nothing.
But the reason we cut it off at that point and didn't continue to live stream at the party was, number one, it was already, because we had done all of this pre-conversation stuff, blindfolding me and sticking me in the car stuff, plus the entire trip to the venue, and it was over an hour already.
It was a
at that point.
decently long special episode.
But in addition to that, because we hadn't gotten permission from
Right.
all of the non-family guests who were there to put them on the air in a live, we deliberately chose not to continue the video once we were at the party location. But anyway, that was supposed to be, as far as I knew, the episode with Sandy. So I really wanted to carry that forward. And thank you, Karissa, for not only being a part of the special surprise, but also for putting together a brilliant conversation with a very fascinating person, which we're going to get to in a few minutes here. Once again, if you are joining us, do say hello in the chat so we know you're here. Continue to do what I see you doing, which is to say hello to each other. Mm-hmm. And carry on the conversation. When we get to our conversation with Sandy, I hope that you will add your own comments and questions and that type of thing. But want to first share a little bit of our sweet and savory. And I think you'll all appreciate this one. So there is a tour company in Liverpool, England, called Magical Mystery Tour. Now, some of you may recall that on a couple of occasions over the past few years, we've had a guest on the show by the name of Katie Truesdell, who owns a tour company called Magical Mystery Tours. And hers is US based. And the basis of her company is that they put together for their guests surprise and mystery vacations. That is not what this is. This is an entirely different company. It's based in Liverpool. They do bus tours around Liverpool in this specially designed bus, which is obviously so cute. Cool, but it's a Beatles-based tour in Liverpool, right? They take fans to iconic sites around the city and point out different places that are related to the Beatles. Well, imagine that you're on this tour going through Liverpool and you pull up at a stoplight and a car pulls up alongside you and the tour director says, "Oh my goodness, that's Paul McCartney." And you look over and the window rolls down and sure enough, Sir Paul McCartney is in the back seat of this car and he's waving to the guests. Now you can actually go online if you do a search. I'm not including any of the fan videos here, but people on the bus started taking videos. I can imagine there was a big push that everybody went to one side of the bus. The bus tips, crawling over each other. Not only does Paul McCartney roll down his window and starts waving to the passengers, he then holds up his phone to reveal that he is in the middle of a live FaceTime call with Ringo Starr.
It's brilliant.
You can see on here, this is not doctored photo in any way. And Ringo also greets the guests. So imagine that you are on this magical mystery tour and it becomes more magical than
far
ever.
More magical.
You find yourself face to face with the last two surviving Beatles.
That's
and
crazy.
Just realizing that sometimes the greatest memories are not set up at all. They just happen while you simply stopped at a red light.
I love it.
But isn't that great? Can you even
so
imagine what that would be like?
That would be like the highlight of the tour, of course.
Hey, I do want to share some special days this week. We have some birthdays and we have another special day I'm going to mention in a minute. But Chris Gearbase, who has been a guest on this show, financial planner who came on here a couple of years ago to talk to us about financial planning and is also a friend. And Chris is celebrating his birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday, Chris Gearbase. And then another individual, another dear friend who has been a guest on this show, Illy Pete, who works in the nonprofit world, is also an author and a fitness instructor, celebrating a birthday at the end of this week on July 31st. So we want to wish Illy a happy birthday as well. And then, Karissa, is today a special day for any reason?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I do.
That.
Now, this is not, wow, we get to celebrate with you and Jason. That is it's not just an anniversary. Which anniversary is this?
It is our 10th anniversary today.
10 years
I don't know how
together.
he's put up with me this long. Y'all know me. I don't know how
Listen, I
he's
know
done it.
both of you. I'm not sure how either of you put up with the other. No,
This is valid. This is valid.
What I do know is that you are an amazing couple together, and we all just want to wish you a very, very happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And all the love in the world. So happy anniversary today, 10th anniversary to Karissa and Jason. So special, very special. And hope that you get a chance. I know you've already done a little bit of celebrating over this past week or so, and hope you continue to celebrate this very special event in your lives.
It'll be
together.
fun. We'll have plans.
Okay. Hey, do you have a special day this week? Those of you in the Brew Crew, those of you who are watching this, let us know in the chat if you've got a day this week. And if you have a day coming up, perhaps beyond this part of the year, you got something coming up next month or the remainder of this year at some point, anytime, and you want to make sure that we get it on our calendar so that we can celebrate with you, you can send us an email to cbwsteve@comcast.net. cbwsteve@comcast.net is our email address, and we can make sure that we get it on our calendar so that we can happily celebrate with you. It's like we're celebrating these birthdays and have the opportunity to celebrate this. And by the way, unlike my birthday celebration, it's kind of a coincidence that you're on today. I can promise you we're not planning to, take you and Jason and stick you in a car with.
Well, that would
I don't know what you or Jason have planned for each other, but anyway, we want to celebrate all those special days. So make sure that you let us know when your special day is coming up so that we can celebrate it with you. Hey, listen, we do have a very special episode today. And Karissa, this was your episode, really. Mm-hmm. This was your conversation. And I don't know if you want to share a little bit about how you really first got connected with Sandy and then tell us a little bit about her.
Yeah, so I actually got connected with Sandy kind of by chance. I made a friend who is into mermaiding, and so I joined her with the local Portland area mermaiding pod, and Sandy is a member of the mermaiding pod. And she actually
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt for a second. Mermaiding pod, I mean, it's like we think of whales and dolphins, but mermaids travel in pods, apparently. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep, okay. That's how it works. So they're similar to dolphins. So yeah. So when you get a group of mermaiding individuals together, they are a pod, and there's a local Portland pod. And so I met Sandy through the pod, and turns out she's actually a professional mermaid as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about what she does. But let me tell you a little bit about Mermaid Sandy, because she's an interesting individual. I've never met anybody with their fingers in quite as many pies as Sandy. So Mermaid Sandy is also known as the Cascade Mermaid and is a professional mermaid performer and a PADI certified mermaid instructor based in the Pacific Northwest. She appears at events and teaches mermaid classes throughout Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Southern California. She actually also owns her own mermaid-based events company, specifically in the Portland area, but also services Washington as well. With a lifelong passion for the arts, Sandy spent years working behind the scenes in theater, and then later discovered her love for teaching while she was in college. And as a dance instructor in her human form, she honed her skills in movement, creativity, and performance. And mermaiding has allowed her to blend her love of the arts, teaching, and fantasy into one magical career. So now she brings the dream of becoming a mermaid to life for kids and adults alike through immersive performances and classes. So today we're going to have a conversation with Mermaid Sandy, and I hope you guys find it as interesting as I did.
All right, let's take a look and enjoy this conversation.
Well, thank you for joining me on Coffee Breaks with Steve, Sandy. I'm really excited that you're here today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
We have never had somebody like you on this show, so I'm super excited. So before we get into kind of the meat and potatoes of what we're going to talk about today, you actually have your fingers in quite a lot of pies. So tell me a little bit about you and kind of all the fun, various things that you do.
Yeah. So it's like one of those trick questions. They're like, what do you do? I'm like, trick question.
Because I do really all the things.
Yeah, it just really depends on what you're kind of asking. By trade, I am a pharmacist. I hold a doctorate of pharmacy.
Okay.
And That's how I ended up here in Oregon. As I moved up here for grad school, loved it up so much here. I got a job up here and stayed up here. So that's my primary job. But I've also taken a big step from that. And so that way I could pursue a lot of the other fun things in my life. When I graduated high school, is either become a pharmacist or become an animator.
Okay.
And so they're like, those are two very different things.
Yeah.
And so I decided to go the pharmacy route. I knew I had the brains for it. I could study, I could take the classes, take the tests, but I still had this creative side of me that then I changed from visual arts over to performing arts. And so that's, yep. So in 2009, when I went to college, I got introduced into partner dancing, and I started out with like Latin ballroom, and then found Argentine tango and did that for strictly 2 years. Revved off a little bit over to West Coast swing, went back to Argentine tango. And so partner dancing is also a really big part of my life. I would have definitely done it a lot sooner, except for the fact that my mom was like, no, you can't dance with somebody like that, because if you do, especially in high school, you're going to fall in love with them, get pregnant, and not go to college.
That's exactly how it happens. That's the route that everybody takes.
In that order.
Yeah. There's no straying from that at all. Sorry.
Yep.
I love that.
And so that's how I got into partner dancing. And then when I finished up grad school, I had taken a little break from partner dancing. I had answered a Craigslist ad looking for a Argentine tango partner, because someone had just moved up from Northern California and his wife didn't want to teach anymore. So he was looking for a new teaching partner. And that's how I fell into the realm of teaching dance. Okay. I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. And what is also a lot of fun with that is that actually does help transition into my mermaid story, because I was doing that for about 2 years and then COVID hit.
Oh yeah.
Everything shut down. And then when we came back, my partner had a really hard time trying to build up the community again in regards to his specific classes. So he decided to retire. Okay. And he was like, Sandy, do you want to take on, the business of my tango business? And at that time I had just found a new partner, found a new job. I was bouncing around a little bit. I'm traveling quite a bit. And for something, especially like dance, where you have to have something that's a little bit more regular, it's having once a week things is really helpful, helps people reinforce what they're learning. Once a month is not enough, especially when you're learning something that new. Yeah. And so I was like, no, I'm going to take a break for it now. I went over to Hawaii to get my PADI certification.
Okay.
And then at that specific studio, it says, become a mermaid. Get PADI certified mermaid. I went, wait, what? I can become a freaking mermaid?
And so I love that.
Right. So I did my scuba certification, did my intro to mermaiding with the teacher out in that area. Loved it so much. Looked up here in Pacific Northwest and found that there was no teachers up here. We do have a pod up here in Portland, and it's actually quite strong. Soon they're going to become a nonprofit. It's going to be very exciting. Yeah. And so then therefore I decided to go and get my PADI certified mermaid instructor license. And I trained with Vero Beach Mermaid down in Florida. And that's how I started my journey. So it goes, starting as thinking about becoming a pharmacist, got into dance, got into mermaiding, and now back to dance with everything else that I do.
Right. Like just kind of all thrown together. You're like a melting pot of talents and interests happening.
I am probably and it's really interesting because especially when people find out that I'm a pharmacist and you meet other pharmacists, they're like, you are nothing like a pharmacist.
Are you sure you're a pharmacist? Because,
you are the most interesting pharmacist I know.
Literally, I used to work in a specialty pharmacy, and compared to the pharmacists I've met, you're the most interesting one by far.
Yeah, and I think it's just because it's really nice to have both that left brain and right brain, and I didn't want to fully give one of them up.
Right.
And so, and of course, family is like, what are you doing? Why are you working so many jobs? Why? And I'm like, just because I love it. I love the variety of it. I love the fact that I get to help people and entertain people in different ways.
Right. I love that for you. So if somebody were to say, okay, tell me what is mermaiding, how would you explain it to somebody?
Yeah. So mermaiding is like free diving light. When you get into free diving, you're doing breath holds and you're going underwater and you're swimming around. So imagine if when you used to go out and you used to snorkel and you have that little snorkel in your mouth and you look at all the food. All the food. Yes, fish are.
Yes, the food.
Fish are friends, not food. Except for some of them are food.
Some of them are definitely food.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I want to delve down a little bit closer to that rock, and it doesn't really look that deep. So you'll dive down there, look around, and you come back up. So that is a form of free diving. The more technical free divers are going for depth and they're going for time.
Right.
And so therefore, like my teachers that I train with have an 8-minute breath hold.
Holy moly.
Right? And that's stagnant, which means that they aren't moving during that time. Right. They're just on the surface of the water, just holding their breath. But an 8-minute breath hold, I'm at about 2.5 minutes, and I'm like, I'm happy with that. I don't need to.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Right? But it's so cool because then there you have the free divers that go all the way down, and they're hitting a couple hundred feet. And with one breath hold and coming back up. So that's like the extreme version of free diving. Mermaiding, I'd say, is more of the performance aspect of it. So you get to be in a monofin, and then we have tails like this right here. And you just get to swim around, and it's a great form of exercise, and you get to live out your dreams and whatever you think you want it to be. Mermaiding is a way for you to break out of the normal mold and be able to live a fantasy, right? And live this magical world and bring joy to people's lives. It's when I work with children, it's hilarious because you get kind of 3 types of children. The one that are just like, oh my God, you are amazing. I love you. And then you get the children who come by and they're like, what are you? And you're like, hi. And I'm like, and sometimes I'm a little bit too hyper. I'm like, and then I'm like, never mind, tone it down, just be really nice.
Sorry.
It's like soft, and they're like a little bit more cautious. And then you get the slightly old ones, and they're like, you're not real, right? You're like, they're not real. I'm like, I think I'm pretty real, and I'm like,
you're real.
Right? and you play with those, and it's just a little fun. And I love the fact that, especially for us adults who discover this a little bit later in life and who's always dreamed of being a mermaid, being something magical, that we get to be that.
Right. So in mermaiding, there's a couple of things that I found. So the way that we met is actually through mermaiding. I actually joined the Portland area pod, and that's how we encountered each other. So a couple of things that I've noticed with mermaiding is, one thing that I've noticed is that I think there's a misconception that you have to be this gorgeous model, skinny beauty queen type to do mermaiding. Is that true?
Most definitely not. We want you to be comfortable in your own body, right? It's a great form of exercise. And, especially if you have any joint issues and everything like that, that is really important. And working in water is a great way to be able to get your body moving. And especially us, we're not going to judge you for that, right? We're not going to judge you for the way that you look. And people have those misconceptions. It's like, oh, the only way I can become a performance mermaid is if I fit this mold. But one of my favorite mermans, and again, a lot of people talk about mermaids, but we don't talk about our mermans, is out in Asia, and he's definitely on the bigger side.
Him. He's one of my favorite performers ever. He's so great.
You'll see him come up in the water, and he'll just bang his belly, and then he just blubbers through, and then up he goes. And like, we want people to feel comfortable in their body, to feel comfortable with movement, right? And if we can't be judging people and discouraging to do that, because this is a healthy thing to do. Right. It's a healthy way, and it's an exercise way of form. We shouldn't be encouraging people to discover new things and new ways to move their bodies. And if this is one of those ways to get them out there, all to them.
Love that. So another thing that I found about mermaiding is that a lot of times people will actually have mermaid personas that whenever they're in their tails or in the water, they adopt. Do you have a persona?
I originally was going to, but then, and I had a different name for it and everything like that. And I'm like, this is too confusing in regards to my marketing.
Right.
Right. Although I had people who had recommended me do the Tango Mermaid, because I actually do have people in my Tango community who knows that I mermaid, and they see me once or twice, but they know somebody else from a different community, and they're like, "Oh, do you know Sandy?" And they're like, "No, I don't think I know a Sandy." And like, she goes, teaches out in Hawaii a lot, but she goes, "I don't think so." She goes, "But she's also a mermaid." And she goes, "I know who you're talking."
No, I know who that is. Yeah.
Right. I love that. And you know, Stephanie, she's one of the mer moms out here too, and she had recommended. She goes, "Sandy, Mermaid Tango is actually a really cute name."
And actually,
but
kind of is.
It is. But the thing is that also my name is Sandy, so I'll just go with Sandy. It's a great beach name in that space.
Yeah.
For my, I do have the different personas based on my tails though. So if I have more of like my freshwater tails, so things that are more green and stuff like that, more of the river fish type of aspect, versus when I'm in like my purple tails, more tropical movement, tropical. And so for each of those ones, I have different backgrounds and different explanations of where my character comes from. And I think that is just a really fun way, and it's a form of improv to be able to build depth for your character. So I think it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I just keep it Mermaid Sandy across the board. But I do love it when people do have specific names for each of their mermaids, because it just shows you how much care they put into thinking about themselves. I don't know if you watched any of the interviews with Ariana Grande when she did Wicked.
I didn't watch any of them. No, I've heard good things about them though.
Yeah, but you know, her talking about how when she found out that she got the role of Glinda, and she was so happy, and she goes, "I will cherish her and make sure that I give her like my truest performance, true to herself." And for me, that's the same way when people build their persona out this way, is that we put our time and our thoughts into developing these characters, so that way they're whole and full rounded people to be able to bring joy to others.
I love that. Another thing that I noticed about mermaiding is that aside from being body inclusive, it's pretty age inclusive. So what are the age ranges of mermaids that you've taught and or encountered in your experience?
Yes. And so if we're talking from like official Patty standpoint, when I'm teaching with children, my intro to mermaiding classes start at about 7 years old. And they have to be able to know how to at least swim, and all that stuff. And we have people all the way up into their 70s and 80s, right? So as long as you can move, you can mermaid, right? But granted, if you don't know how to swim, just regular, then we highly recommend you taking a swimming class first, so that way you're comfortable in the water, and then we can transition you over to a monofin. We always recommend that you start out in a monofin first, none of the tail skins on the outside, because we want to make sure that you feel safe doing this new thing. You're just doing a dolphin kick, right? So if you ever swam butterfly, that's what it is. For me, it's very much like a body roll. And so I've never taken official swim lessons. I can swim and tread water and stuff like that, but I've never done like a butterfly in my life. But because I understood how to do a body roll, that really helps pull things over. One of the biggest concerns for me, though, especially as we see this become a more popular sport, is for our younger viewers and our younger fans who are like, "Oh, I love mermaiding," and they're like, "Mom, Dad, I want to be in a tail." And either the kids get put in a tail but no monofin. And imagine how hard it is already to swim with your feet together. The fact that you have nothing to propulse you through the water is really, it can be quite difficult. And then second, they just don't realize that how hard it is to swim with your feet together. And therefore, we highly encourage, especially for children, that if they're going to be trying any type of form of mermaiding, to try to seek out some of these classes, so that way they can be properly taught how to use a monofin. One of the biggest things is we don't want any dead mermaids. Right?
Yeah, no dead mermaids.
No dead mermaids. And so therefore, safety is at the top of our list. As soon as I get into a tail, a brand new tail, brand new monofin, any of those stuff, I get in the water and I immediately learn to take that off. Right. Because if there was ever an emergency, I have to be able to get out of it quickly. Yeah. And I can tell you, the first time I got into my silicone tail is 25 pounds dry weight.
Yeah.
It's dry weight, and it was slightly small on me. So me getting into that thing took almost 15 minutes. Yeah. And as soon as I got into the tail, I scooped myself into the water, off it goes. And they're like, Sandy, but you just spent 15 minutes getting into it. I'm like,
you bet I did.
Like, because it's a pain in the butt. Yep. But I also have to trust myself and know that I have to be able to get out of it in case there's ever an emergency.
Well, and kind of on the same topic as that, in terms of safety, there is a concern with the growing popularity of mermaiding, because it is becoming a little bit more in the mainstream. There was a documentary that was made about it called The Merpeople. So people have kind of caught on to this kind of niche, fun little area. And so it's becoming more popular. And because of that, there's actually kind of almost knockoff equipment that people can find online for cheaper than the official stuff. And that poses some problems for safety too, because sometimes those monofins or those tail skins are not necessarily the best material, or they're not necessarily made well. And so people end up having difficulty being able to safely swim in them and get out of them, right?
Yes. So yeah, if we're talking especially from the safety standpoint of things, we want to make sure that that a tail can be drained, right? If you put on a tail and it starts filling up with water and you get in with water, it's going to become a weight to you and down you go. So that's one of the biggest things in regards to that space. So if you end up getting a tail, that is kind of more of a knockoff, go and talk to a reputable source. So whether or not it's going to be one of your instructors, it's going to be one of your more experienced mermaids, and talk to them about this, using that safely. We understand that mermaiding can be a very expensive hobby. Like these tails, like your cheap ones, just regular thin entry level easily can be somewhere between $60 to $100. But our large fluke ones, our different material ones, these are somewhere between $600 minimum up to $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah.
Right. It is a very expensive hobby, and we want for what looks the best, but may not be best for us in regards to our skill level. So learning to make sure that we identify those places and getting feedback from somebody who's not going to judge you just because you bought a knockoff tail. Do we want to encourage you to buy from reputable sources and to be able to support artists that isn't using AI or pulling from other people's styles? Most definitely. But if this is what you have, because that's what your price point is, and you want to get into it, totally still acceptable, but make sure that you vet it with somebody who knows what they're doing, so that way you're doing things safely. And then always in the future, you can save up the money to get something that is actually, more appropriate. But I don't want it to be elitist. That's the biggest things when it comes to this. It can be such an expensive hobby, and people are putting out hundreds and thousands of dollars to get into something that we are like, oh yes, we really want this, but you don't want to judge it against each other. Money's a big issue, that's for sure.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to bring up is that you actually have your own mermaiding company out here in the Portland area, and you don't just do mermaiding. You offer a couple of different services and experiences. So can you tell us a little bit about the Cascade Mermaid and what you do?
Yes. So Cascade Mermaid is a entertainment business. They do like different parties and everything like that. And the original intent was for me to kind of primarily just focus on mermaiding and being able to provide classes, because at that time there's actually no PADI certified mermaid instructor here in Oregon. Right. We do have one that's up closer to Olympia. We have another person that's closer to Boise. And then Stephanie Ross teaches for SSI, which is a different governing body that also teaches safety. But we had nobody for at PADI, so hence the fact I went and I got that. And I also realized that it's a very seasonal thing. Mermaid tends to be primarily in the spring to the fall, where we have a lot more birthdays, pool parties, on all those stuff. And so I decided to pull back in some of my previous experiences being a face painter and balloon animals. And then I'm like, what else can toss onto this that would make it interesting? So now I do also hair tinsel and glitter tattoos, which are also waterproof. And so I offer a bunch of these services. So that way I'm hoping that it will entice somebody to be like, oh, even if I can't have you as a mermaid for the winter, I can get you here as a face painter. Right. And so it's helping get my brand out there. And the point of me also offering some of these services is I'm kind of a one-stop shop in that way, with the hopes of being able to build up enough clientele as well as friendships and everything like that, where I can start hiring more mermaids under my business to be able to come out and also live their dreams. The fact that I get them out there, whether or not they want to be there as a mermaid or if they want to be there as a face painter, it makes great money. Like,
yeah,
like I said, mermaiding, like my services start at $250 an hour, and then the second hour I discount that down. But like for my face painting, and especially if you have children that are more artistically inclined, I pay $100 an hour for face painters, balloon animals. Trying to get my stepson into the balloon animal things, and I'm like, you have to
make some money, man.
Right? And he was going to college right down the street, and I'm like, I'm about to buy some more balloons. Do you want me to buy you a set so you can train, and then once you're good enough, I can send you out in parties? He's like, I don't know how that will make me any money. I'm like, I pay you $100 an hour, and I have a minimum of 2 hours. Right. So if you worked the 2 hours a weekend, how many hours would you have to work at minimum wage in order to make the same amount of money? And then you spend the rest of the time studying and do what the heck you're doing. And I think had I known about this part of the business way back in college, like I would have started my business so much sooner than now. Yeah. Right. And it's a great way. And I get to hire on local mermaids. I don't need to be the mermaid performer. The only reason I ever perform myself is because they're looking for somebody with a very specific look. Otherwise, I'm trying to promote other mermaids. I'm trying to give different life skills so that way they can go out there and they can offer these services when I'm not here. Right. I have a friend of mine whose kid is 18 now, but like with a learning disability, and she's so afraid of her parents are afraid that she doesn't know how to make change because of the learning disability, and she's like, how is she going to be able to live on her own? So I hired on her to be my line monitor, for her to do my glitter tattoos. Every time I have cash, collect money, I give it to her. Mm-hmm. And so it's really a way for me to, one, be artistic, but also to give back to my community and build up the economy so that way we can help prosper.
I love that. That is so awesome that you have found a way to make it profitable as a business, but also find a way to use it to give back to other people and encourage other people is amazing. I wanted to let everybody know, if you have questions about mermaiding, if you're interested in getting into mermaiding, if you're interested in certification, if you're interested in hiring Sandy and her mermaids and balloon and face painting and all that artists, we're going to put her website up here so you can check her out, and also her socials so you can check out her, also if you're interested in any of her dance classes. So we'll make sure that everybody gets all that information here. Sandy, I really appreciate you taking the time with us. You actually spent the whole day with me at this point because we did a dance class earlier today. So I appreciate you giving me more of your time this afternoon and sharing a little bit about your story with us.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope that your viewers see how passionate I am for both my dancing, but also like my mermaiding and how much joy it brings me. And I hope that it inspires them to come out and try something new as well. It doesn't have to be in either of these two, but if there's anything that's ever been in the back of your mind that you're like, oh, that seems kind of interesting, but I don't know if it's really for me or not, to take that jump. You know, give it a try, jump in and give it a try and see whether or not it brings you joy. And even if you don't like it after a month, you're like, at least you gave it a try, right? Our life is way too short to not try new things.
That is so true. And I have found that through mermaiding and dancing and all those other things. So I really hope that everybody listens to your words today and tries something new. Maybe this week, maybe this month, maybe this year. But hopefully everybody here will take Sandy's passion and apply a little bit to themselves and try something new this year. So thank you so much, Sandy. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Karissa, that was truly, and I see Sandy is actually here at the moment. So hi, Sandy. Thank you.
I forgot to tell Sandy that we moved the episode up. So the last second this morning, I'm like, hey, I don't know if you can get online. Hi, Sandy.
Well, Sandy, I want to say thank you once again. I said this is the beginning of the show, but finding out as we were preparing to do this a month ago that you were part of the little conspiracy around setting up a surprise party for me. But the bottom line was that this conversation and what you shared was so amazing. There was absolutely no way we could not make this a legitimate episode to share your story and what you do. So I hope, and I want to hear from others in the Brew Crew. There was a lot of conversation going on, a lot of it just pretty funny stuff. But if you do have questions for Sandy, you can certainly put them here in the chat right now. And we did have a great party. It was fantastic, Sandy. Thank you. But if you have any questions or comments for Sandy, you can certainly put them here in the chat. We also posted her websites and her social media in the chat, and you can easily find all of that by going online and checking that out and follow up with Sandy in any way, shape, or form. I just think it's fascinating that this is, I remember as a kid, and even as a young adult, Disneyland in the original submarine ride, and there were mermaids. There were mermaids who were trained to go underwater and
swim in the water
and do the dives and hold their breath and all that stuff. And there have been a few commercial aquarium places around the country and around the world.
Really famous. There's a place that's super famous in Florida.
And
Sandy, I can't remember the name of the place. So you probably remember it if you want to throw it in the chat. But they're super famous for their mermaids.
Mermaids. I didn't know if that was like at Busch Gardens or one of the other.
No,
it's one that's very specialized.
Yeah, it's an older place, and their big attraction was the mermaids.
The mermaids,
and they're still open, I think, But yeah, Wiki-Wachi.
Okay, so that's something that people could check out as well. To me, it's so interesting, and I don't know if Sandy, if you know how many official pods there are around the country or around the world. I mean, this is obviously next. Oh, cool. But this is obviously something that is one of those. We run into certain activities, sports, types of things that. For me, have been a surprise to find out about. Like when we discovered that mermaiding in these official pods was something that has a fin hold in various places. That was like finding out a couple of years ago about competitive jousting and how many places actually host and support and train and have teams. These are the types of things, because you don't get that when you're watching mainstream media. You don't find out about these things. So for me, it is extraordinarily fascinating. And Sandy, your entire story, I mean, and I agree with Karissa, there aren't many people that we have encountered who have as many diverse focal points in terms of vocation, avocation, whatever else might be included. You truly, truly have a fascinating life, and it's fun to hear your story. Listen, as we wrap up today, also want to share some things that are coming. We got some very exciting episodes coming up in the next few weeks, Karissa. And we've already recorded the conversation, and it's going to be, you're going to appreciate it, especially in the climate of our world today. But former Congressman Richard Gephardt, who served for 28 years in the House of Representatives, was at various points was majority leader in the House, was the Democratic leader in the House, and ran for President of the United States, I think 2 different times,
Right.
is going to be here with us next week. And Congressman Gephardt is going to be sharing his views on the importance of leadership, on the importance of finding ways in the midst of a very divisive world that we live in now to reach across and listen to and learn from and find commonality. And listen, it's not in any way, from his perspective, compromising values or standards. You're going to pick that up. If you have any knowledge of Richard Gephardt, you're going to know that he is not a person who compromises on value, on his own values, or those that I think many of us can learn from. So you'll want to be here for that. And then the following week, August 8th, is also going to be, I think, an amazing episode. As many of you are aware, a couple of months ago, we were among those in our area who were called on to evacuate because of a wildfire near us. And it pointed out to us a reminder about how important it is to be prepared, so you're not panicking if and when an emergency around you occurs. So in 2 weeks, we're going to have Chandra Fox, who is the Deputy Director of Emergency Planning for the Spokane County, where I live, but has information for, I think, that would be relevant to anybody in terms of how you can be prepared as an individual or a family for any kind of big emergency that may arise. And no matter where you live, there's always something in your environment that could lead to that. So we're going to hear from her in a couple of weeks. And then, do you remember the Bard, Casey Schisler, who was with us a few weeks ago? She's been in in Iceland over this last, no, maybe it was Finland. She's been overseas. Oh my God.
Finland.
She's been in another land. Forgive me, Casey, for not remembering that exactly in the moment. But she's traveling right now. She's going to be returning, and she's going to come back to share even more with us about what she has learned about the culture and the environment and the music and the mythology in her travels. So we're looking forward to having the Bard return to us. And then coming up in the 22nd of August, and this was one that was brought to us by Chelan. And I'm going to talk in a minute about how important it is to us if you know people or meet people. It's kind of like Sandy today. But Muffy Nye is going to be here. She is a dance instructor. We were just talking about dance instruction today, but that's what she does. And she's going to be, and similarly in many ways, I think, to Sandy's own experience, but Muffy is going to be here to talk to us about what is involved in being a dance instructor. So we're going to take a little bit of some of the things we talked to Sandy about and take them even a step further. So we hope you'll be here for that one. We've got others in the works, but we want to know from you, what are the topics that you would like to discuss? Who are the guests that you'd like to see us bring here? I know that you as the Brew Crew appreciate the people we have on here. You share that with us every single time, but you also have ideas. And certainly many of the guests that are on the show, have been on the show in the past, continue to be on the show, come from your recommendations, and especially come from your introductions where you know or have met someone, have a connection to someone. Share those with us, please. We will actually send you a very special thank you gift if you are able to connect us with a guest or bring us a topic that ends up being on the show, because we do appreciate that. We always want to be taking advantage of what you know and also what you would enjoy seeing on the show. Reminder that we do have a YouTube channel, Karissa, you know that. And it is continuing to grow. We are actually very close to breaking. I mean, this is not a huge deal if you know YouTube and you know people.
It's big for us.
It's big for us that we're about ready to break the 100 subscribers mark on YouTube. Really, I would like to see it get to breaking the 1,000 subscribers.
That'd be awesome.
Mark. Not because I'm looking to make a big deal for myself out of YouTube, but think about how many other people would enjoy, would appreciate, would be inspired and motivated by hearing stories like Sandy's.
Right.
And YouTube, while our crew kind of gathers so much around Facebook, and that's where so much of the live stream and the connection here takes place, we can reach a much broader audience and share these stories and share these guests through YouTube, reach just the algorithms there. And we're working on some things right now. I'm working with a specialist. We're going to be updating and improving that YouTube channel. If you are not already subscribed, would you please subscribe? And if you are already subscribed, would you please do our guests a favor and share the YouTube channel with people in your circle who you know would appreciate being part of these conversations and getting to meet these amazing guests. I want to share something as we're coming to the conclusion today. Each month we highlight and promote a nonprofit organization that we think is special and we're taking some time with. And the month of July, we are taking some time to promote an organization that I've had some background with, located in Pleasanton, California, Valley Humane Society. I refer to them as the little engine that could, because when I was first engaged with them, they were just trying to even exist. And now they are thriving. And a couple of years back, a while back, we had a conversation with their president and executive director, Melanie Sadek, and just a little bit of what she shared with us then that I think will help you appreciate how you can be a part of what Valley Humane Society is doing.
Melanie, let's say that somebody from any of our audience locations would like to find out more about how they can donate and support Valley Humane Society. How can they find you?
So valleyhumane.org is our website. You can go onto the website and learn more about the organization and all the different work that we're doing. And there's an opportunity to donate. We are supported exclusively through community support. So one of the things that I don't know everyone really realizes is that animal welfare doesn't get any federal funding. And at least in California, we get no state funding either. So all the money that filters into our government shelters is all local tax dollars. And so this is why sometimes some of our most under-resourced communities have the hardest time keeping up with the population because their shelter doesn't have the same resources that they do in San Francisco. And so, yes, we are privately run. We live off of community support. And really, if anybody has any questions about some of the stuff we talked about, you want to get involved, you don't like what I said and you want to talk about it, you can reach out. I'd be happy to talk to you as well.
And I would encourage you to look into Valley Humane Society. Maybe you end up looking at them and going, well, they're not local to me. During that conversation, one of the other things Melanie talked about was looking at how you can support your local agencies. But Valley Humane Society and what Melanie has been able to do there, because I know her, I worked with her, and they are doing amazing work in animal welfare throughout their region. And so I just encourage you once again to take a look at Valley Humane, and you can see there, you can donate. Doesn't have to be a lot, but every little bit helps, and it maybe make the difference between an animal finding a home more quickly and the best possible life for them. So listen, I want to say thank you one more time to Sandy and her amazing, thank you, Sandy. I want to say, Karissa, thank you very much for being here today to co-host and not blindfolding me and taking me away, because we really wanted to share this story. I mean, how much I loved that surprise party. Today, we really wanted to share Sandy's story. So thank you for being here to co-host. Thank you for bringing Sandy to us. And Sandy, hope that you'll stay with us and keep us informed about what you're doing. You are now a part of the Coffee Breaks family, the Brew Crew. So we thank you as well. Thank you to all of you for being here, for being a part of the conversation today, for doing all that you do. And remember, we all have ways that we can touch lives, that we can make an impact, no matter what it is, no matter if it's an organization that we support, if it's stepping out to volunteer our time, to being an advocate for the things that are important to us. So please find a way to make a difference in your world this week. God bless you. Have a great week. We will see you next time on Coffee Breaks with Steve.